Good day. In this video, you'll find recommendations for November 2025. November has always, and rightfully so, been considered a spiritual month, a kind of leap into the next year. What should you pay attention to in November? Which days are the most powerful? What is best to do on which days? Find out in this video. And of course, I invite you to subscribe to our platforms, especially our Telegram channel, where we post daily numerology forecasts. You'll find the links in the description of this video. So, November is under the sign of 11. The number 11 is considered the number of spiritual guides. Yes, you could say that. And if you watch my recommendations and forecasts in my videos, I often say that before talking about spirituality, you first need to accept it within yourself. Accordingly, in order to get through November properly and successfully, what do you need to do? First of all, relax and just get through it. You know, like playing a game, always tuning in to a positive outcome. Why is that? Because the number 11, its vibration, its energy, besides being a spiritual guide, like two ones with a flow of energy between them, really, you could say that there is another side to it. It is chaos, it is the element of air, it is the dynamics of movement, and sometimes even heightened emotionality as a result. First of all, it's important to understand that in order to go through November harmoniously and well, you need to approach everything accordingly. Kind of like smoothly, yes, you could say with soul, and try not to be overly emotional, especially if that emotion is unnecessary in your life. So let's gradually move on to the main characteristics of November. Yes, indeed, in November there will be very strong energies at play. And indeed, many people will feel this themselves. This could manifest as headaches. It could also be discomfort. Discomfort primarily because many people are waking up now, and in particular many of you as well, because anyone who is interested in such things is, in any case, within this field. By the way, let me know in the comments under this video if you have these kinds of feelings like something is about to happen. Specifically, do you feel like something is about to open up for you or that something significant is about to happen? On a global scale, both November and the lead up to November point to this. Yes, perhaps for some people, new visions or premonitions will open up in their minds, or maybe someone will start writing some really good, interesting, and engaging texts. The union of your inner and outer energy can truly manifest itself or lead to the discovery of your own abilities, some vivid talents, for example. So pay attention to the information and hints that come your way. Pay attention to any signals you receive, not to the point of obsessively seeing signs everywhere, but rather focus on the state your body is telling you about. Yes, by the way, November, it's a good time to learn how to connect the outer world and the inner world, meaning your body and your intuition. It's definitely a great time to learn. After all, 11 is the number of learning. If you're interested in numerology, of course, come join our school. We don't just analyze some numbers or something like that. We examine a person's life path. We look at the stages of life, specifically the 7 life cycles, all the life stages that a person goes through, and each stage corresponds to a numerical combination. Whether we like it or not, our body still adapts and changes. These are numerical codes, numerical combinations. Or you can study in a place you've long dreamed of. That's absolutely normal. If we look at it by decades, the first decade is like getting used to the energy that is now changing on our planet. It has been present for several years already, and now, each time, with such specific characteristics, it will only intensify. The second decade is a very strong energetic flow, including an informational flow. That's why for November, I expect there will be significant shifts on the energetic level. Again, for many, this may come with some pain, but as they say, it's for the greater good. And the central part of November is for us to absorb as much as possible. And the final part of November is it's about distributing throughout your body, your state, your actions, the energy and information that you were able to receive, or that all of us together will be able to receive. And now I want to invite you to my numerology workshop as in practical work. For 3 days, we will be looking at practical aspects together. Systemic numerology is called systemic because it's a system. We will look at the characteristics of numbers together and we will examine life periods. First, we will determine your current period and we will talk about the most important period of your life. And under which characteristic does it fall for you? And of course, you can apply all of this to yourself and your loved ones and look at them from the perspective of numbers, from the practical side of numbers. The link to the workshop is in the description of this video. Be sure to register and come. If we look at it by days, you already know for a long time that there are such days with a zero base or a zero channel. This is when the numbers coincide, for example, the day and the month of birth. Here, I'm talking about the date of birth. In this case, the numbers of the day and the month, first of all, it will be the 20th, then the 20th again, the 11th, and the 29th of November. On these days, there are, well, peculiar energetic surges, each time stronger and stronger. It is assumed that the body has already gotten used to the information, and each time you can receive more as if connecting with this flow of information. Plus, there is another very important feature of November if we add it together with the year 11 and 9. Again, this will be an 11, meaning we will have the number 11 repeating twice this month in this year. In other words, this is the maximum amplification of what I am talking about right now. So pay attention to information, pay attention to your personal state, because a person can only fully absorb information when they are relaxed, when they are not tense with their thoughts, problems, attachments, or anything else. They go through life calmly, even if something doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out today, it will work out tomorrow, and that's normal. Every day we live through a small, separate life of its own. What happened yesterday, whether something worked out or didn't work out, today is already a different life. We try to let go of problems, any failures, and accept successes as experience. We take everything as experience and move forward. This is especially important in November. Learn to accept the events of your life, even if they currently have a negative tone or negativity. From today's point of view of the situation, of course, there are situations that are very difficult to accept, but in any case, it needs to be done. We've already noted the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, and the 29th. These are significant and very powerful days. The next such days will be the 9th, 18th, and 27th. Here, not only will the 9 repeat, but the 11 will also repeat, since these days also add up to 11, as we've already mentioned. They will completely duplicate the structure of this month together with the year. So here, but with an emphasis on the 9 is our head, meaning it's about wisdom, about understanding. That's why it's very important here to sit down, think, analyze, what am I doing, where am I going, and what have I learned over, for example, the past 10 years? What has happened to me over the months of this year? Maybe, in fact, if something bad happened, reconsider it and accept it as experience, as a positive experience. I myself quite often make such associations, and it really helps a lot. My life has consisted and still consists not only of celebrations. Yes, it's a very difficult path, but now you can look at it as if, well, yes, the path was tough. When I was going through all of it, it was no laughing matter, and I wouldn't wish for anyone in the world to have to go through that. Going through such moments, it's very useful to analyze them and maybe realize that sometimes fear makes things seem worse than they are. Some events really are better to accept and let go. Next, the important days are the 8th, 17th, and 26th. Why? Because the combination of 8 and 11 is a union of knowledge and information, the element of fire and the element of air. Together they create, an emotional surge. So be very careful with your emotions on these days. You just need to be extremely attentive. Any emotion you express on this day will be amplified many times over, whether it's a good wish or a negative one. So on this day, just pay attention. Watch your words, and it's better to think something good about yourself or your loved ones. Wish something good for other people, even if they haven't acted the way you wanted. The best way, the best way to accept and forgive someone is to wish them something good. Goodness comes back. An energetic message always returns. But in any case, these are days with a truly vivid and expressive emotional tone. Write in the comments what you are planning for November. One more thing. An important factor that I would definitely recommend for November is traveling or some kind of trip. Again, why? Because the element of air is about movement. If you have the chance to go to the mountains, the season is just starting. Or maybe go somewhere else, maybe to a place where there are kite surfing trips, or somewhere you've long dreamed of visiting, the element of air. It's about movement. And during travel, the body adapts very well to the energy. Why is that? Because different circumstances trigger the thinking process and the process of receiving information in an intensified mode. In other words, our body quickly looks for solutions to new challenges. And naturally, it absorbs everything around it. And I'll also mention some very deep days, truly deep ones. These are the 7th, 16th, and 25th. These are days of nature, not for deep thinking, but for taking a walk, listening to the space around you, tuning into yourself, and reflecting while in nature. This is especially a very good, truly excellent opportunity to really hear your own inner voice somewhere, and listen carefully. Or perhaps to receive hints that have been prepared for you by your guardians, your guides. This is exactly the connection of the number 7. 7 is a symbol of the soul, a symbol of nature. 11 is a symbol of information. And on these days, it's especially good to spend time with yourself, alone. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media, and of course, subscribe to our resources, to this channel, and to our other platforms as well. All the links are in the description to this video. Register and join us for the numerology practice session. Well, it's time for me to say goodbye. See you next time.